You've meticulously stacked rice higher than your kid's bunk bed and enough beans to feed a small army for months. But the one resource that truly dictates survival and will vanish in 72 hours isn't either of those, it's water. So, how do you make sure you have enough so all those beans are possible to digest? Listen to find out. Hi, I'm the Urban Lady Prepper. I help single moms and solo women with practical emergency preparedness. But of course, all are welcome to become better prepared for whatever happens next. When it comes to making sure you have enough water, the good news is you likely already own most of the gear needed to turn your house into a mini water plant. Stick around and I'll walk you through the simple, often overlooked methods that keep the most critical prep out of your blind spot. We're talking about real, actionable solutions that don't require breaking the bank or becoming a wilderness survivalist overnight. This is about practical resilience right where you live. Think about it. Most Americans sip, cook, and flush their way through an astonishing 80 gallons of water every single day without a second thought. It's a luxury we barely acknowledge. I've spoken and written about how essential water is, how it is a finite, disappearing resource that, while a human right, is increasingly becoming commodified. And then, in a grid down event, a natural disaster, or any prolonged emergency, that reliable flow simply disappears. Here's a 3-day reality check. Suddenly, those 80 gallons become a pipe dream. FEMA, the Red Cross, and every local county emergency plan all echo the same crucial advice. You need at least 1 gallon of water per person per day, just for drinking and basic hygiene. So, based on that number, a family of 4 needs at least 28 gallons per week just to stay alive and reasonably healthy. But that 1 gallon is laughably small compared to the water we usually consume. Now, can you store all of that? Sure you can. You can try. But containers leak, plastic degrades, algae can creep in even in most opaque jugs. And let's be honest, where exactly is an apartment prepper supposed to park 55-gallon drums? By the futon? Sure, I always advocate getting water in packets, but it's simply not feasible for most people to store all the water they need for an extended period. So yes, absolutely store what you can. Every drop counts. But then, and this is the pivot, you need to turn your attention to the renewable stuff, the water hiding in plain sight, just waiting for you to tap into it. This isn't just about having water. It's about having sources that don't rely on the municipal system. So, raid your house first. Let's start with what's right under your nose. First stop, your water heater. Most folks don't realize this, but your water heater isn't just for hot showers. It's a massive insulated reservoir of potable water. To access it safely, first, turn off the power or gas supply to the unit at the breaker or valve. This prevents it from heating up or trying to refill. Then, simply crack open the drain valve at the bottom. Most standard water heaters hold anywhere from 30 to 50 gallons of perfectly drinkable water, just sitting there in the dark like a stainless steel canteen. Keep a cheap garden hose in its original packaging specifically for this purpose, and you're set. You can siphon or drain directly into buckets. Next, head to your bathrooms. Pop the tank lid on every toilet in your house, but never ever try to get water from the bowl itself. The water in the toilet tank, the part with the float ball, is clean, chlorinated tap water. But if you use those blue sanitizing pucks, skip that toilet. Otherwise, scoop it out. It's perfectly drinkable after a quick boil or a drop of bleach. Don't forget the obvious sources either. Melted ice cubes from the freezer, the clear liquid from canned vegetables like green beans and corn, even that half-gallon of water left in the coffee pot this morning. Every little bit adds up. In under 10 minutes, without even stepping foot outside, you could easily find 60-plus gallons of water. It's like a scavenger hunt, but with life-saving rewards. Another option is the bathtub bladder trick. Now, let's talk about foresight. If you catch even 30 minutes of warning before a major event, say a hurricane making landfall, a cyber attack threatening infrastructure, or a major winter storm bearing down, you have a golden opportunity. Fill your bathtub, but don't just fill it and hope for the best. Invest in a food-grade bathtub bladder. This ingenious item is basically a giant heavy-duty plastic bag that costs less than you would think. It stores completely flat in a drawer. You simply slip it into your tub, fill it up, twist the top close, and just like that, you've got 100 gallons of water that can stay drinkable for months. It keeps the water clean, protected from dust and debris, and prevents it from picking up any funky smells or tastes from the tub itself. No bladder? No problem. But you'll need to be a bit more proactive. First, give your tub a thorough scrub with bleach and rinse it completely. Fill it up, Then cover the entire surface with plastic wrap to minimize contamination and evaporation. This method won't keep the water potable for as long as a bladder, but it buys you a week of precious time for drinking, cooking, and sponge bathing without having to touch your stash. It's a simple, low-cost way to create a significant short-term reserves that most people completely overlook. Now, you can pre-filter gunk out with common stuff. Here's a crucial step many skip, often to their detriment: pre-filtering. Cloudy, murky water is the enemy of most chemical treatments and will clog expensive filters incredibly fast, often rendering them useless after just a few gallons. The good news? You can pre-filter gunk using everyday trash. Grab an empty 2-liter soda bottle, lop off the bottom, and invert it. Now, create layers inside. Start with a clean bandana or a piece of an old t-shirt at the bottom, which would now be sitting at the neck of the bottle. On top of that, add a layer of clean sand from a sandbox or even aquarium sand works. Then a layer of charcoal. The stuff from your grill works great, just make sure it's plain charcoal, not the briquettes with lighter fluid. Aquarium charcoal works too. Finish with another bandana on top. Now pour your cloudy water slowly through this homemade funnel. This simple setup will pull out leaves, mosquito larvae, mud, and all sorts of larger particulate matter. It won't remove pathogens, let's be clear about that, but it makes the next critical step, disinfection, infinitely more effective. Think of it as clearing the path for the real germ killers. A fantastic pro tip: if you can read newsprint through the water after your pre-filter, you're good to move on to disinfection. If it's still too cloudy, you might need to run it through your makeshift filter again, or let it settle longer. This step is about efficiency and extending the life of your more advanced purification methods. Next, kill the bugs. Boil, bleach, bottle. Once your water is pre-filtered and relatively clear, it's time to kill the microscopic nasties. Boiling, without a doubt, is the most bulletproof method. A rolling boil for 1 full minute at sea level is enough to annihilate bacteria, viruses, and parasites. If you're above 5,000 feet, extend that to 3 minutes to compensate for the lower boiling point. Boiled water does taste a little flat because the boiling process removes oxygen. To improve the taste, let the water cool, pour it back and forth between 2 clean cups a few times to aerate it, and it'll taste much better. No power for your stove? No problem. A rocket stove, easily built from 3 soup cans or some bricks, can burn twigs, small sticks, dried grass, or even dryerland, and will get a kettle steaming in minutes. It's an incredibly efficient way to boil water with minimal fuel. If fuel is scarce or you can't boil, unscented household bleach is your next best friend. The general rule is 8 drops per gallon of clear water. If the water is still a bit cloudy, add another 8 drops. Mix it well, then walk away and do something else for 30 minutes. That's your thumb twiddling time. After 30 minutes, give it a sniff. If you catch a faint chlorine whiff, you know it's safe to drink. If not, add a few more drops and wait another 15 minutes. Now, it's important to note that it must be unscented regular bleach, not the kind that claims to splash less. Now, what if you don't have bleach or you're worried about shelf life? Pool shock, or calcium hypochlorite, is a prepper's secret weapon, so you may want to grab some. This stuff keeps for a decade or more in a sealed foil pouch. Mix 1 heaping teaspoon of 68% calcium hypochlorite powder into 2 gallons of water. This is a solution that you will use to disinfect water. Use 10 parts to 100 parts of the water you're treating. You've just shrunk a lifetime supply of disinfectant into something the size of a film canister. It's an incredibly powerful, long-lasting solution for water purification. Iodine, also known as tincture of iodine, might already be in your medicine cabinet. Add 5 drops of 2% tincture of iodine to each quart or liter of water to be disinfected. Stir and let the water stand for at least 30 minutes before use. If the water is cloudy or colored, add 10 more drops of iodine and let it sit again. Another option, sunlight in a bottle. Let's talk about solar disinfection, or SODIS, S-O-D-I-S. This method is incredible because it adds 0 weight to your bug-out bag and costs absolutely nothing. All you need are clear PET plastic bottles. Think soda bottles, not milk jugs or dark glass. Fill a clean, clear PET bottle with water. Shake it vigorously for about 20 seconds to oxygenate it. Then lay it horizontally on a reflective surface. A piece of foil on a rooftop, a dark-colored tarp, or even just hot asphalt will work. The goal is to maximize sunlight exposure and slightly elevate the water temperature. 6 hours of strong direct sunlight, or 2 full cloudy days, allows the sun's UV rays and mild heat to pasteurize the contents, inactivating bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Remember, clarity is king here. Dark glass or scratched Lexan bottles won't work because they block the crucial UV light. Stick to 1-liter bottles, or at most bottles that are shoulder width, so the UV light can penetrate to the core of the water. If you can, rotate the bottles halfway through the exposure time for even treatment. Also, you want the water itself to be as clear as possible, so you may want to run it through your homemade filter until it's as clear as you can get it. If the water is too murky, the UV light can't penetrate effectively. SODIS is free, it's endorsed by the World Health Organization, and it's been field tested by millions in developing nations for decades. The one limitation? It won't remove chemicals. Another popular and free option is rain harvesting, and you could do it without gutters. When the skies open up, that's free water falling from the heavens, and you don't need fancy gutters to catch it. A simple blue tarp, 4 sturdy sticks or poles, and a 5-gallon bucket can create a $40 micro-catchment system. Stretch the tarp at about a 15-degree pitch, wedging the lower downhill edge into your bucket. In a moderate rain, you can collect a gallon every 10 minutes. To keep things clean, stretch some mosquito mesh across the top of your bucket to keep out critters, leaves, and other debris. Oh, and believe it or not, water harvesting is illegal or limited in some states. So you should check that before you invest in rain barrels or set up a cool DIY system that I've seen other preppers do, like my friend at TomStar526. Check him out. Here's a critical step for rain harvesting, what's called the first flush. The initial 5 minutes or so of rainfall will rinse airborne dust, pollens, and other pollutants off your tarp or collection surface. Dump that first batch of water, don't collect it. Once the surface is clean, then start saving the subsequent rain. No tarp? Get creative. Place a couple of lawn chairs back to back, drape a clean sheet or plastic sheeting over them, and let gravity feed the water into a pot or bucket placed underneath. Store your surplus rain in reused 2-liter bottles and keep them in a dark place. Algae needs light to bloom, so darkness keeps your water fresher longer. This is about leveraging natural resources with minimal investment. Now, if these hacks are already saving you hundreds in specialized gear and giving you some serious peace of mind, do me a quick favor. Hit that like and subscribe button and drop the word water in the comments below. It helps me know this information is reaching the folks who need it most. To continue, when we talk about true long-term water independence, we start moving into more advanced and often more expensive territory. Reverse osmosis, RO systems, are the gold standard for removing a vast array of contaminants, including salts, heavy metals, pesticides, and even some radioactive particles. However, they need serious pressure to force water through their ultrafine membranes, meaning either electric pumps or a robust manual bike-powered unit that can cost you upwards of $300. They also produce a fair amount of wastewater. While incredibly effective, they're not a simple, low-tech solution. For microbial threats, portable UV wands can kill bacteria, viruses, and protozoa in 90 seconds for a liter of water. You may have even gotten one during COVID. They're fast and effective, but they guzzle specialized CR123 batteries, which aren't always easy to find or store during a prolonged outage. Then there are gravity-fed ceramic filters, like those found in Berkey-style systems. These elements can handle about 4 gallons an hour and boast an impressive lifespan of 6,000 gallons if you regularly scrub their surfaces every few weeks to prevent clogging. They're excellent for removing bacteria and sediment, and they leave your water with a polished, clean taste. The smartest approach for long-term resilience is to combine methods. Think redundancy. Pre-filter with your trash filter, use SODIS for viruses if sunlight is available, and then run it through a ceramic filter for that final polish and peace of mind. Redundancy beats a single point of failure every single time, especially when it comes to something as vital as water. Don't put all your eggs, or all your water, in one basket. Remember, daily practice now beats panic later. Here's the most important takeaway. Knowledge without practice is just information. This week, fill a bottle of water, treat it using one of your chosen methods, oil it, bleach it, or SODIS it, and actually drink it. This isn't about testing your gear. It's about acclimatizing your gut to your local microflora and confirming that bleach concentrations don't leave your water smelling or tasting like a swimming lesson. You need to know what works and what tastes acceptable before you're desperate. Also, get into the habit of rotating your stored water. Even sealed jugs of commercially bottled water will pick up a plastic funk after a year or so, and their integrity can degrade. Aim to rotate your stores every 6 months. And finally, log how much water you truly use in a normal day. Most people drastically underestimate their actual consumption by about 30% once you factor in dishes, pet hydration, and even a quick sponge bath. Knowledge weighs nothing, and practice skills will always beat a shelf full of shiny gear you've never actually tested. But what if you have to bug out or you've run out of water? The quick answer is to know where your local water sources are and have your filtering and purification method ready. If you're smack dab in a city, a good tool to have is a Sillcock key. Yes, the name is unfortunate, but this inexpensive key will allow you to access those hose bibs or Sillcocks you see on commercial buildings, public facilities, or industrial sites. But understand, if you're looking for water, others are too. So, not only do you need to be careful of thirsty people, you're hopefully avoiding the building's owner, who won't be happy with you. So, in conclusion, food can sit on shelves for decades, providing sustenance year after year. But water disappears quickly, and we can survive without it for only 3 days, leaving you vulnerable and desperate. By mastering these household tricks and understanding these purification methods, you've effectively patched the biggest, most dangerous hole in most prepper plans. Rotate your stores, replenish your supplies, and rehearse these critical skills now, while the faucets still sing and the grocery store aisles are full. If this video opened your eyes to the true importance of water preparedness, please share it with a prepper friend who's still laser-focused on wheat berries and forgetting the most vital resource. Thanks for listening, and stay safe out there. Until next time, this is the Urban Lady Prepper signing off.
I'm sure I've given you some things to think about as you go through the upcoming week. Has this episode resonated with you? Let me know in the comments. Get one of my cool designs on a shirt, hat, mug, and more at my Redbubble store. Or you can always buy me a coffee or get a Jace case for your emergency medical needs. It helps support what I do, and I really appreciate it. Join me on the socials, especially on YouTube, where I'll be uploading videos for my blogs from urbanladyprepper.com. I appreciate your time with me. Stay safe, stay sharp, and be ready.